Hello, everyone, once again. You are joining us ahead of Well Season 6. And standing with me on the edge of this best of three tonight for our League of Legends finals is Tim. How are you doing, my new best friend?
I'm doing perfectly well, Brett. How about you? Are you excited for those great games that we're going to watch today?
I absolutely am, as you know. Of course, I've briefed you previously on the previous Worlds. Tonight's game features the Pirates and the Wolfhounds, a particular favourite of mine. We've been looking through the players, looking through the previous games as well. Is there anything in particular about either of these teams that you're excited to see? Is there anything, a pick you're excited for? Tell me something that you're looking to get your teeth into.
Honestly, I'm just excited to see my Wolves just go absolutely bonkers like they always do. They've shown like multiple times how like weird in a sense their draft can be and how but at the same time it works and everyone is always confused as to what is going on
Yeah.
because you're always expecting the meta picks, I want this, I want that, and then they just pick what they want and just do it. Simple as that.
Simple as that. So perhaps then it's in the Pirates' court to make sure that their game is as smooth and as tidy as possible, right? Because the Wolfhounds are all about chaos and unpredictability. Do you think Pirates need to meet them at that level, or are they going to keep a cool head, be sensible, and sort of wait for them to unfold themselves?
I think Pirates have some standard draft, and we're basically going to have to see what's going on because I think what they're going to have is the preset plans of pick
Yeah.
this, pick that, and when the Wolves throw the curveball in, they're going to lose it. And honestly, I'm just waiting to see what's going to happen.
Yeah, well, the good news then for the Pirates is that they are here on the red side. So, of course, they're going to get themselves counter pick. So, they have a lot of that time to see where the surprise curveballs are going to land before at least they cement their entire composition. And speaking of that, we are, of course, straight into our draft here as well. And the bands are flying.
Yeah, instantly banned Corky. He's been a menace in the past few days over every games. Weirdly enough, Shen has been played a lot, but I think this is more of a respect ban towards Wolves, as we know that Wolves really love to play Shen in a lot of
Yeah.
matches.
It's also one of those picks at this kind of level. Discussed it a lot of times in the previous worlds where it's like, I'm surprised Shen hasn't been picked. And then you see Shen picked, and it's like, this is why, because it just turns a chaos brawly game into one of those where unless you're punishing Shen on the side, you can't really do a lot about it. And then perhaps, okay, cool, we need to attack the Shen because he's going to show up anyway. By that point, if you've lost those early skirmishes to those stand Uniteds, you're now sending two members to deal with that Shen, which means you lose the objective on the other side. So I like seeing the Shen ban. That's that sort of presence in mind we're expecting here from the Pirates to take away the elements of chaos the Wolfhounds want to cause.
Meanwhile, Wolves are very scared of this pressure on mid. You can see the Syndra ban as well. They're just scared. They don't want this mid laner to just sit back and farm one or two items to just basically go ham. Meanwhile, interesting ban from Smolder. Even
Mm,
though it has been picked a lot, the potential for the pick is very mid. As a lot of the times he needs to that scale to actually become a menace, and most teams have found a way to punish early on,
yeah.
with the Ash included. And I think that's what a lot of ADC bans actually now they're dropping in. With both Jin and Ash, with the other two top contenders for the ADCs as of right now.
Yeah, which to me leaves picks like the Jinx or the Caitlyn sort of on that next field of view for ADCs. I do love hate the Smolder band because it's one of those champions that Wolfhounds would probably like to flex between mid and ADC. It's one of those that I expect Pirates to be able to punish, as you mentioned. But I think potentially the risk of seeing a 25-30 minute Smolder and losing from there is potentially too high. But it's the
Yeah.
Cassante locked in first for the Wolf.
Instantly, Lemon says, "Okay, guys, you banned my Shen. I'm gonna pick my second best, it was Kasante." And we know that the enemy party also plays Kasante a lot, so a little bit of a pick and ban. But at the same time, he says, "You can pick my Kasante instantly with the Volibear picks." He knows how to play the hero. He knows how to deal with the chaos of Kasante. He knows how to punish, probably, hopefully, the champion. And seeing the standard hover over the Kaisa, more than likely it's going to get picked, as it is. It's one of the most standard picks nowadays for ADCs. Has a lot of potential, both hybrid scaling and actually this deals too much magical damage, in my opinion,
Yeah.
after some point.
Yeah, I do believe she was hit on this patch, but that still means if she was doing too much, she's doing the right amount, and sometimes that's all you need. And of course, that mixed damage means that you're happy then to spread your damage out across the remaining of your draft. The Volibear, I'm curious to see. You say it's a pick that Clarky is confident on. It's a pick that I sort of see more niche wise, or it's those Rod of Ages builds. So I'm unsure of where Volibear lands, but I'm sure we'll get to see him land plenty hopefully this game.
Yeah, I think that this is comfort picks. As we said before, Pirates know that Wolves are playing for comfort, and I think that what Pirates are also doing is also they're picking their comfort picks to basically know how to play champions. Um, an interesting Kalista Tom Kench bot lane. It's going to allow Kalista to play really aggressive really early on, eventually, not carrying on the world, because you'll just have the safeness of Tom Kench, just being able to eat up. Um, and just an all-around good comp so far from Wolves. At the same time, the Nautilus pick is a great choice for initiation and to keep the pesky Kalista from moving around too much.
Yeah, I do love seeing me a Nautilus. When I was looking pre-game, I was like, I feel like if I had to do a bingo sheet, picking Nautilus is on that list. It's one of those simple to pilot success like exponential graphs, right? It's like landing those hooks, those ultimates just kind of makes anyone in particular's game unplayable. Perfectly standard laning phase and into a Callisto time catcher, as you say, should be pretty comfortable.
Yeah. Yeah, the only fear he has is that even if he lands the ult on the Callista and Tompkins is the Callista, they're
Yeah,
both stunned anyways. They can't do anything. So it's a safety net of, yeah, for 2 seconds, you're not doing anything.
yeah.
And that could allow
And
Kaisa to just basically get those lethal tempo stacks, get those plasma fuel stacks on, and then just basically melt anyone that's she's hitting. Some interesting bans we see here. Malzahar, I'm not exactly sure why Malzahar was banned, as we don't get to see a lot of him, and he's not the best pick as of lately in the mid lane. Clearly, Pirates are afraid of something, or they might be thinking of a counter
yeah,
bound to pick something else in the mid lane. And then the Skarner follow up as they more frontline jungler for the Callista to basically just hop around in the back for free, as Skarner can just take away every threat it is from the ADC and just put it in front of them. I'm not sure. What are your thoughts on the Aurelia Soul ban?
to me, I absolutely hate this champion. So as a caster, I'm glad because I don't have to hold back my despair at seeing this champion press E and win a team fight. I think that's potentially what the Wolfhounds are thinking as well. They don't have a champion that they're prepared to play into it, and due to his sort of mobility and uninteractiveness, it's not something they kind of want to let the Pirates sit there and scale with. So if they know that they've played it in the past, it's one of those. This is our least favorite of the remaining mid-pool champions. We'll take this one away.
Understandable. We see the pick from Lilia and an instant pick from the Wolves from Silas. I think that they're pretty much cooked up the plan that they have, and with Viego lock-in as well, a very, very powerful team that you're gonna be really afraid to play later as the game goes on, as almost all of these champions are scaling a lot. Meanwhile, Pirates close in on Jace, a very good early pick, able to poke, do lots of things, and can transition into a very good carry, as well as the Lilia, who's just gonna prance around, basically just debuffing everything. And from what I can see, it is not actually Cassante top, but it's actually Cassante support. So
Here's that effect that I warned you about. You think you know until you don't. So unless the players are playing the other way around, potentially Cassante support it.
yeah, it's a very Wolf thing to say. They've just instantly said to me, "Hey, you know League of Legends, we do," and then just said, "Hey, we're gonna pick Cassante support." Tom Kench into Volibear is a really good matchup because Tom Kench really enjoys just hitting those beefy units, and
Yeah.
Cassante is actually a very good matchup against Nautilus in a way, because if you press your unstoppable, you're
Yeah.
basically not moving anywhere. You're just sitting there, and you can also drag the Nautilus away from your ADC.
Yeah, I feel like there's definitely an angle here with this Cassante, right? As you say, being able to Pathmaker through the dredge line, you can kind of tuck the Nautilus back under a tower if they're not being careful. You've got the footwork as well to play around with, so you've got sort of mobility and outplay for the Nautilus, but I feel like Cassante staring down this lane, if you're not doing that, then you're probably losing the lane. So it's kind of one of those expressive matchups where you are hoping that you do outplay that Nautilus, maybe encourage him to accidentally hook the wall, trade the auto attack stun, but then flip him back in. So assuming that that is going in the bot lane, that is what I'm going to love keeping my eyes on.
Most definitely. I think bot lane and the jungler rotation is going to be the most important things to look at, especially because Viego versus Lilia. Viego really wants to snowball early, and Lilia is just going to move all around the map. Like, you will not be able to stop her as a Viego unless you do something exceptional. And I'm just scared to see how this Lilia is going to walk around and prance around at this point, just going from lane to lane and just getting kills.
Yeah. I think
It's
that's
interesting to
something.
see. Oh, sorry.
Sorry, go for it.
Oh,
Okay, yeah. Oh. The worst best thing to happen. Too polite, the two of us. Yeah, I'll follow up on that point then. Is the idea of the Lilia just running around, right? This Viego is slower to start, but wants to start strong, right? But this Lilia sort of has a nice level playing field throughout the game, in my opinion. Seeing Lilia at this composition where the only range character is the Callista, and you also have like Nautilus and Volibear to frontline, kind of suggests to me that this pirate composition is going to skirmish better simply because all of Wolfhounds want to be a melee range, but they don't have as many tools to reliably get into that range. I do rate the Viego being ahead, but I do also love the Wolfhound's angle here, playing it from behind. I've seen it do it before. It's just the kind of Viego effect. We're behind, but Viego got 1 or 2 resets, and they get to play a broken champion because we fed the enemy team. They do now have that sort of back pocket in case the worst happens.
yeah, this is one of those things. As you mentioned, there's not a lot of range coming from Wolf's side, so they're just gonna have to constantly chase people, and unless they have a good lockdown, which honestly in this case, not the best lockdowns you can have. You don't really have the stationary like point and click stuns like you have from Pirate side with the Nautilus or the Volibear instantly stun. You need to have those stacks on the Tompkins to actually do anything. You need to have this Cassante channel and go through towards a wall or even try to kidnap someone with all out. It's so situational that I think that this Lilia pick is so strong because of this, as it's gonna move around so much without any sort of like fear into it. With the only one being is Silas, as Silas can easily close the gaps with chain hoodshot and his dash, which I forgot his ability, his name.
Abscondaduct. It's one of those that gets, once you hear it, it's like, oh, I knew that, the double A's. But yeah, we'll see if the Wolfhounds have enough batteries as we are finally onto the Rift for our first game of potentially 3 here. It is onto the Wolfhounds on their onus to try and bring us to that third game, as I think Pirates are the favorites coming into this series. We'll see how this one progresses, and already we see 5 members straight onto the map of Pirates invading topside.
They're hunting. They're looking for someone. Because they know that they have this better early game, and if Lemon is not going to be careful, he's going to get in a lot of trouble.
Yeah, he gets tagged there by the Storm Splitter, slowed, but is in a safe distance. But that vision there gained all the same.
Yeah, so now that they know, they're probably Viego's gonna play poorly bot side alongside with his bot lane to get the early camp clear. Meanwhile, I'm very certain that Lilia should path into the Raptors so she can get a fast red buff into better clear. She clears a lot faster than the Viego.
Yeah.
But we will see what's gonna happen. I do not really understand the Viego green smite. I think that a lot of people have been playing with the blue one as they will really lack the mobility going through the bushes. We'll see how it's going to turn out. Meanwhile, the Lilia standard one, you're going already too fast. Might as well go faster.
Yeah, doubling down never hurt anybody here. Sort of that win more, speed more, right? If you can connect your first ability because you got that bonus movement speed from Blue Smite, you can connect your second and kind of maintain that level of movement speed. So tricky for the Viego as well, who's not running that Blue Smite, to sort of get away, but perhaps that's the mentality, right? So, well, if I can't get away anyway, I might as well be tankier with that green Smite. Again, we'll have to see how that one evolves.
Interesting thing just happened. Lilia pulled the red buff thinking he's going to close in and then be able to kill it faster, but didn't actually path it properly, so it just well back and reset.
Well, opportunity there for the Wolfhounds, or at least the Viego, a little bit of breath, although they don't know they have it yet. And speaking of breath, I've just lost mine as that happened so fast. And I was so distracted, and I did not expect it. But Clarky walking away with a very early first blood.
It is what we said early on, that Clarky with a Volibear is just, he's so comfortable with the hero. He knows exactly what to do and how to get it done. And
Proving
it
exactly
just
that.
shows.
Yeah, 400 gold shows it. Better than most other ways. We'll have to see how Tom Kent can recover in this lane because that is a fair amount of the wave loss there as well. Having to TP back to catch it, but Clarky here holding the TP, so it's a flash for TP exchange. Hopefully, Lemon can begin to neutralize or at least mitigate that one. And I think of all the champions on your team, you want to go behind it would be the Tom Kench, but that is still someone behind nonetheless.
Yep, and we see in middle lane.
Yeah, Shadow Path here made by Viego lands. The Kingslayer gets the second auto attack through and pulls the soul out of Bam Bam. Is slaying that on that Jason. That's breath again for Pizza Lover, which you like to see.
Yeah. Again, we said this. Viego, what he needs to do early on is he needs to make sure he gets those kills snowball on. The moment Viego snowballs, it's going to be so difficult for Pirates to control him, as he will just literally move out of control, especially with any reset given to him. Meanwhile, currently we just see that not a lot of CS behind as well on Viego. Like, even with a successful gank, I was expecting Lilia to be this far ahead and still ganking, but speaking of, she's just prancing around.
Yeah, walking in here to this boss side, getting some vision down. I think they did have wards on Chickens where it happened, but I'll hold it as we have action here in the top side. Spectrum Moore just a little wide, but Clarky here in the 1v2 has level advantage here on Tom Kench, but here comes the first autos with the grasp, stacking up for the Tom Kench. But action here is a little slow. Lands the second Spectrum Moore, bought enough time to get it, but it's still a fair walk for Clarky here before he gets back to the tower. Flash not available, remember, flashed away earlier, but it's going to take a ton to get him stunned up. Lands the knockup the other side of it, and that's another kill over to this Viego, who wanted to be ahead early.
Jesus, now this is Viego's game already. He's already feeling it. He's already saying, right, guys, I'm already going in. Instantly, you saw that he passed from mid lane, killing Jace, into the blue buff, straight into top lane. He didn't waste a single second. This just shows how much they want to play around this Viego as well, as they know that this is probably like one of the best junglers in this situation. And meanwhile, some good hooks from Nautilus.
Yeah, the hook lands, Zoe being able to tank up some of that with the footwork shield, but still a fairly effective trade over here until Matanda eats that Pierce. So bot lane going tit for tat so far. A fair CS advantage over to Matando, which not too surprising in this case. We see Matando perform very well for the Pirates in the past, but we'll see how the Wolfhounds do in the present as they are engaging onto David here, who has been finding his way into mid lane, has to flash to try and get away, and flash follow here with Spectrum Moore, instantly lands the Q the next way through, just needs one more auto attack to land it, but there's enough space for that fast Lily, as we mentioned beforehand, just to get out of it.
Insanely close, and now they're going to turn this around. They're going to go with the Volibear in.
Yeah, might be even closer. The Spore Scene connects here onto Pizza Lover, who's about to get Clarkied. He's a very healthy volley bear, and there's a Jace the other side as well. Going to knock him back. Phil just going to be lucky to get out of there. But a nice catch, picking back up where the Wolfhounds left it.
Very good rotation from Clarky, especially like when you saw that the Lilia survived. I was extremely well done. That Lilia heal, clutching it to the end, going to the single digits, and still managing to survive after getting the Conqueror proc, and then just basically getting so much more health back that she could just walk back in if she wanted to. Obviously, stayed back. Some slight issues with the connection, but everything should be fine. And now we're going to see how the junglers are going to prioritize whether to go for the dragon, which is, I believe, a mountain drake, or they want to go for the grubs, or are they going to split them apart? Meanwhile,
Odd action here. Pizza Lover in amongst the minions and in front of the Jace, who has not much mana, and the Kingslayer passive there is enough to do the damage. Of course, taking over the Jace there as well, just nicely done. Good recognition, I think, but close nonetheless. Oh, Clarky here, I'll hold it. Has level 6. If he wanted to expend that ultimate, he could. Sees the better of it. Just lets the sky split above Pizza Lover, who then returns to the wave.
And then with that, Jace has enough time to come back from dead, TP instant to the lane. And as we said, they're taking the grubs from the side of Pirates, as they know that they're pretty much stronger as a group. Because of right now, on Wolves, you have a strong Viego, but everyone else seems to be pretty mediocre as of right now. losing most of the skirmishes between the laners.
Yeah, which is nice to see. I think as a spectator and a fan of Wolfhounds, who have been fun to watch, but not necessarily the most successful, seeing them ahead in this early game against a team that we've seen be pretty well performed in the past as well, it's quite exciting. Yes, they might be down in sort of CS or in some ways, but in terms of the kill gold and the gold in general, not too poor for the Wolfhound.
Yeah, it's also very nice to see that Callista is not that far behind in CS, has 52 CS. A bit of unluckiness because of the Xante pick, as she can't really play that much forward due
Yeah.
to the Nautilus pressure. But still keeping up with everything, and everyone is pretty much just trying to salvage as much as possible in each lane from what we can see. And I think that they're going to try to rotate towards the dragon very soon as oh, never mind. Silas decided to just board and go back away.
May yet see some action here. Matando spying out Zoe here, drops the ward down, which is also spied. The vision there provided by Callista also somewhat valuable, but we have here Phil in the vicinity. It looks like the Wolfhounds are favouring the dragon, as you asked the question earlier, whether you're looking at the dragon or the grubs. So it is a case of here looking to secure this mountain. We'll see how the pieces move as Lilia is moving their way onto the map as well as David has items in the pocket. So, well, I don't know how this develops. I'm expecting mid to begin to move.
Oh,
Phil here
that was a
with the
clever move
vision
from Phil.
advantage. Looking to land Spectral Maw is just wide, but his here in melee range gets just about away from the watch out eat, but has to still be careful of Lilia's movement speed. Jace is moving first, as well as the rest of the pirates. Phil here kind of left alone. Pirates, Wolfhounds are arriving to this play, but it's now Silas off to the side, and now is straight into the middle. Phil getting away on the bottom side of the map as Pizza Lover thaws. All out goes Cassante, bringing the Jace away from the play, but himself closer over to the Lilia, who's able to get themselves the double kill on the meantime, bottom side of the map. Phil getting engaged on by Matando, who uses the ultimate. Kingslayer is not quite enough, and Matando survives that one with the red buff to take away, and it's Callista escaping with their life, but it's a 3-0 for the Pirates.
And a Drake as well down the drain. Oh, that was such a horrible initiation as well. I think the Viego wanted to go into the Lilia's jungle and try to get as much as possible stolen from her, as he is stronger than the Lilia in the 1v1. But I think he forgot that the Lilia has a team, and just you saw pirates literally the moment they saw Viego in their jungle, they just instantly all grouped up there.
Yeah, well, we might get around to here as Phil finds David, potentially making the same mistake, invading into the enemy side of the jungle. But again, with that movement speed, as we mentioned, able to steal a couple of the chickens, get away with it as well without getting caught.
Yeah, and this is the issue right now that the Wolves are currently facing. How are we going to catch this Lilia and stop it? Because even with the Viego who's fed, unless you can hit her, then you're not going to be able to do much with her. And you're constantly going to have to run around trying to chase a Lilia that's already doing poison damage to you, healing back up, and there's also the issue of her team.
Yeah, right. It's one of those quandaries, right? We've got to deal with this champion, this player, but there are at least two meaty front lines and another Kaiser running around with killer instincts and Cathia Reigns. It can be hard to discern where you should put your chips in that team fight. We'll have to watch how Wolfhounds decide to do it. So far, a little bit discoordinated in that last Dragon play, but of course it is still early into the game. Next set of grubs yet to spawn. Looking to see how that one goes as the next objective.
Already also we can see the pressure that the pirates are putting in, as almost all of them have a first item completed. Meanwhile, almost only Silas has a full item onto the wolf side, and I think this is going to be very bad for them because they're not going to be able to have a full-on 5v5 fight, and they're just going to have to find any skirmish they can. And even then, it's very surprising as literally instantly, look, 4 rotations onto the grubs.
Yeah, we'll see some action here as initially the first two members of Wolfhounds getting picked straight away, walking up perhaps too early, and it's Phil, the first target, the jungler, having to flash away up at the other side of the wall. Clarky unable to follow with the ultimate, but David already the other side. The Devour had to be used to keep Phil alive. He's the one you want to watch in this fight, is the one with the resets, but he's already going low. The Kingslayer just short. Lemon able to pick that one back up, but it's now Zoe in the mix of the fight. The last Wolfhound remaining until Tom Kenjarise picks up a double, picks up a triple, and all of a sudden the tanks arrive. You can't quite kill them yet. You have your first items, but who cares when you have grass procs galore and Wolfhounds out of nowhere turn that fight around.
insanely well done by both the Cassante and the Tom Kench. The Tom Kench had to use his ulti defensively. Even though the Viego died, he walked back out a little bit, waited for the Cassante to bring them all together. And then I think Pirates just forgot. They thought, like, hey, oh, he's just going to go. He's just leaving. But instead, they just rotate back into it and bring that terrible engagement from a uh, from nothing to just an insane 4 kills and a set of grubs. And now the
Yeah.
grubs are on 3-3, which allows both teams to just basically put a lot of pressure onto the towers. Similar, at least.
Yeah, it
And
should mean that when we get to these towers, they should melt a little bit more, right? It should up the pace of the game, which is nice to see because so far the pace has been pretty electric anyway. I will highlight as well, Matando did get the solo kill there onto Kai Bing in the bot lane as a silver lining, so at least Pirates were getting something out of that play. But yeah, as you say, right, it's impressive of the Wolfhounds to turn this one around, considering that Lemon, the one with the triple kill, was the one caught out in the first place, as we see David there steal away some of the chickens.
I think he's gonna steal so many chickens in this game. The Viego can literally do nothing. Every single time he just walked there and just looked at the chickens being taken away. And as you say, I think really this is a really well done pick with Lemon because
Might have to hold that point as Peter Lever stun here under the tower. Hammer to fall as well. Got the Sky yet to split. Ultimate available for Volibear. They're going to bring this wave in first, I think. Chip down with that Lightning Storm passive. Sky split should land. Or, as then I say it, we jump to the bot lane. Matando picks up a kill hit onto Kai Bing. So it is now Kingslayer potentially a way to block away Lilting Lullaby. Yep, does so. Zoe a little bit here in the mix, able to get away from most of the damage. But mid lane should be being taken here by the Pirates as first tower by the looks. Or, I say it, Lemon has a different idea about that one. Heart's still complete, looking to get some of these procs. But overall, Pirates net positive.
Honestly, very good shot. Moment from disaster from Wolves. They were about to be losing Silas mid, having lost so much more. But as you said, Kingslayer, Viego dodging that ulti, was able to run away. Even though the Kalista is very far behind now in terms of CS and net worth against the Kaisa, it's still a force to be reckoned with, and we still have yet to see her actually pop off into one of those fights, as she's mostly being caught off on her own.
Yeah.
But potentially we're going to see that over on the Drake. With the Infernal Drake spawning, I think everyone wants to turn their eyes onto it and just try to get as fast as possible. With Pirates sneakily waiting in to bait anyone in.
Yeah, walk it out, support first, nice and sensible. Measured, you're here on time, you've got the vision control as well. See if you can catch anyone out. If not, just walk on over to this Drake and quite quickly secure it. As with that Kai'Sa passive, you can melt through this one. Of course, that stacks nicely with the Nautilus as well. But the fight potentially hit to break out. I think the Wolfhounds want to be careful. They've already given up the Drake to lose some kills as well. Could be detrimental. Rift Herald on the board could be the cost. So yeah, just a Drake pickup here for the Pirates, nice and measured, and a fairly measured response from the Wolfhounds there as well.
Yeah, the Wolves are scared. They the last time they won the fight was because of Tom Kench's inheritable tankiness and like the ability to play around him. But right now they didn't have him. They had the Callista, which was not in the best situations and is very very lacklusting at the moment.
Yeah, but
they're very
Lackluster
good
is
at
not
cheating.
mid lane, so you get a fairly healthy trade for both players.
Yep, just Silas and Jace things. They just both around poke around. They want both of these heroes want champions want their enemy laner to be just half HP so they can just burst them down with their exceptional bursts. Just small skirmishes all around. As you can see, mostly they're fighting for objectives, and I think Viego should be a bit scared here.
Yeah, good trick of the vision there, running through the shadows, back into the bush. But here we are, fighting with the Tom Kench now, but Phil in trouble. Might have to use the ultimate again to get away from the Lilting Lullaby. Does use it in that way, looking to get a reset here, but the all-out could put him in trouble. They would have to flash away from this. And the ultimate using the exchange here from Cassante. For more damage, Zoe here in the middle, but it is now in the middle of 4 members as Matando arrives and picks up the triple off the back of that Killer Instinct, hunting here for Odvari, tanking a couple tower shots. They were thinking about it, but they'll leave that as it is. A happy B, and Phil just carefully walking around that tower. Void Seeker not finding its prey, but still overall very net positive for the Pirates this time.
Amazing. That was an amazing fight from Pirates. They got very much everything that they wanted. without any loss, and now they're instantly pressuring onto mid, just taking this tower very fast. And they could also look for a good reset and come back to for the next fight, which is going to be the Drake. It's going to be very scary. Meanwhile, bot lane, God,
Yeah,
Jace.
barrier here used by Callista, but it is nowhere near enough. The tower shot is enough to finish that one off. So the Callista finally getting a kill on the board, but that should also accelerate the Jace towards that mirror mana, which is fairly scary. I think you're fairly happy with that one as Pirates for the sake of, well, probably should have died there 1-0, overextended. So 1-1, you take.
I absolutely would take this at the moment, because if I'm Pirates and I'm seeing that their 0-3 carry just got a single kill, all I see is a reset bounty. That's all I see in the eyes of Pirates.
Yeah.
In all honestly, this Kalista is so far behind right now. She's basically food. The people you need to look out for is the Viego, the Silas, and the Tahm Kench. And in honestly, Cassante has been popping off a lot in the team fights, a lot of damage. The kidnaps have been really good, but as we said earlier, there's no proper lockdown onto the side of the wolves. They can't really
Yeah.
lock down anyone they bring along, and they're gonna go for the tower dive here. I think they're like,
Yeah, speaking of lockdown, it might be Tahm Kench under this turret. Clarky here with the ultimate available as well. He's going to drop it on top of the Thomas Kench's head, and that shield is not much use for him. Phil here just having to get out of dodge using the shadows to do so. Zoe here in the vicinity, but the rest of Pirates, they look hungry. Going to flash forward here from Clarky, trying to land the slam. Fails to do so. Pizza Lover just about getting away from the other CC as well. Kaibi taking the teleporter in, but here comes the Herald. Tower already down to half. The wave is not the biggest, but it is chipping out this tower all the same. It's taking the weird way around, but going straight through the front door is the Pirates. The two knock up onto Kaibing. That's one of them down. Two down already. Double go straight over to that volley bear. The Herald gets the charge in and his people into the back of this team fight, but here's 1 versus 4. Pizza Lover, he loves his pizza and he's going to have to die so he can get his fingers on those slices, because there isn't much slices left of their base left to take, as Pirates charging on him here with a full wave now, backed up by that return charge. Inhibitor soon to go as well. They might look for more here. The death time is
they're looking
on
for
the longest. 7 on Cassante, 6 on Viego. The first tower is to 4, but it is the Tahm Kench they have to compete with. He should really just try and clear the wave here. Clarky might be in trouble as the Tahm Kench Bissell Voyage through, gets that shut down, but the teleporter gets the rest of the Pirates out.
at the same time, Jace is casually just pushing 2 towers on the bot lane, and he's just gonna go for it. He's just gonna leave. Oh, Kingslayer on Viego, he wants to catch on to this Jace, but I don't know how they're gonna kill him.
But he's brought a friend. I think that's how they intend to do it. It's going to get that knock up with the abduct, and the Kingslayer passive should pick that one up. So 1 kill on the bot side, but you did get the tower for it. So the Jace is doing his due duty for sure. But the Draco has spawned as well, so there's not much time to breathe.
It's honestly, I think Pirates just really want to close this deal with this Drake fight right now, because they know that the top lane is open, so they're just gonna wait it out and see what they're gonna do. Never mind, the Nautilus is gonna go in. Viego half health already.
Yeah, Cassante pulling members over the border is onto Matanda, who's able to get one of the kills back. 2 kills as well. You isolated the AD carry, but they win that 1v2. That 10k gold lead is certainly enough to begin to end this one now. The Tahm Kench is still alive, but he has to chew through 3 to 4 members. They should have enough strength in their pockets to whittle this one through. Using the Devour here to get Pizza Lover out to safety. Has the Kingslayer able to get some health out of this fight. I don't expect it to end quickly, but it looks like the Jace has different plans. He's been split pushing this entire game. Uses that TP. Clarky did as well. Is going to get that last tower, and with no members of the Wolfhound surviving, Pirates are sure to secure this one.
Amazing. I don't think this Cassandra is going to stop this Jace anytime soon. It was very well done by the Pirates. They managed to close off this game. And now we said this. They not always pick the best meta picks, but they will pick the comfortable picks. And Clarky just insanely dominated with that volley bear, and the Lilia pick as well, unpunished completely. No one was able to do anything about it. I really think the Wolves need to go back and start cooking up their pot of chaos to fill it out a little bit more better for the next upcoming game.
Yeah, I didn't hate this look from Wolfhounds though. I think having seen some of their other early games, this is one of the best they're looking at, and I think we definitely identified the issues in this draft that definitely came to fruition. Very much the sort of melee composition, and the lack of targeted CC made it difficult for them to exacerbate the lead they sort of happen to find themselves with, right? You identify the Viego as wanting to be ahead. The Lilia, strong and stable, was able to recover, but was very much a case of falling behind the sort of pace of the Viego early. I think for us, it was very much a case that the Pirates' measuredness and well-rounded composition means that they're able to win those fights at those objectives. But for me, the Wolfhounds seeing a more strong standard composition was weird to me. It was very much it looked like there was intent behind this draft rather than just rolling a dice in each roll. So for me, it's the Wolfhounds. Can you balance that, right? Can you pick and mix having creativity, your own style, as well as something that is effective and has win conditions?
I think they're testing the waters a little bit. They might go into this game best of 3 thinking, okay, guys, we're gonna lose game 1, we're gonna stomp the next 2 games because we're gonna try out this comp at the first game. Obviously, we don't know what they were thinking, but the thought behind the Cassante Callista, it would have paid off a lot more if the threat of the Nautilus and the threat of the Lilia were not already there, as you cannot really stop those people from getting onto your Callista no matter how much you're going to go all out onto your pulling them away. And as Cassante, you can only pull out one person, and we saw that multiple times. Cassante did amazing ults. He pulled out the perfect person under towers, Lilia under the top tier 1 tower. We saw in the last Dragon fight where Kai'Sa was just dropped back and had no help. But at the same time, it was already too late. Kai'Sa already has those big items. She's going to pop her plasma field and she's going to instantly get like 600 HP back, able to burst you down. You also have this Lilia who, since you don't have a lockdown, she's just going to walk away. She walked away. Nothing was going to happen. So I think that the Wolves really need to think about a little bit more cohesive strategy. But I think they can definitely manage to get together and cook something really amazing for the next game. For Pirates, I don't have a lot to say. It's more about they played they're out of their minds. As you saw, early game, that level 1 death from Tom Kinch, not even he was expecting it. He had flash up, he had like all the spells ready, but he just got bursted. It's because Clarkseas knows his Volibear and he knows how to play. And I think that when you give those players their heroes that they're really comfortable with playing, you sometimes risk of removing the meta, but giving comfort.
Yeah, it's a good thing to highlight. Something to keep in mind going towards game 2. Of course, that one should be coming up shortly. We'll take a quick break here. Thank you for highlighting their win conditions. We'll review them rather, as we head into that game 2. But for now, we'll see you guys in 5. Welcome back once again, one and all. You join us again for the Welsh Season 6, just ahead of Game 2, where it's on to the Wolfhounds, having lost Game 1, to pick up from where they were at the start of Game 1, which looked quite strong. But you highlighted, Dim, at the end of that game, they were looking for a composition that was more cohesive, I think was the words that you used. A composition that had more CC, a more sort of targeted game plan, but still maintained some of that energy, some of that excitement, some of that chaos. Some of that comfort, but still with more proactivity, I guess is the word.
Yeah, I mean, it was weird to me seeing like some of the picks. Like I honestly, I did never expected the Cabin to pick Callista. And I think that he was experimenting with a Cassante pick as well because he has
Yeah.
so many more different picks like Callista that seeing him on his out of comfort just because the pick is meta made him even look like way weaker than he should have been because as you saw at some point even he lost the skirmish to 1-2-1-2 against the meta. So he had the capacity to go into play this pick with the Cassante, but eventually
Yeah.
the Cassante left, and then because the Cassante has other priorities he needs to do. He needs to go help grubs. He needs to go rotate a little bit
Yeah.
more, match up this Nautilus positioning because he's not going to have the same movement speed as the Nautilus, who's going to grab you and hook you into just a four-man CC lock chain, and it was very weird. We did see really well done Pizza Lover with the Silas going even against the Capers Jace. Uh, both of these players did really well done. They never overextended. They always knew how to play, waiting for their team and when they want to go in. As you saw, a lot of the times they would trade, but instantly back away after the trade because they both knew that they were at the threat of being ganked by their respective junglers and potentially feeding the enemy mid laner.
Yeah, it's just one of those that you saw the Pirates with that sort of measure, right? And as well, you highlighted at the start of the game that then carried a trend all the way through the idea that Lilia had not much threat onto her, so she was able to evade, run away, escape, but also entangle, entrap, and chase where the Wolfhounds couldn't follow, right? So it would be nice to see sort of, as you highlighted again, just to lean onto that point, some sort of CC, right? To be able to start those fights on your terms so that should a Kaiser start picking on your Callista, you at least have the means to shut down the enemy champion that is being successful. And we'll get to see how the Wolfhounds do approach this with that in mind. Again, sticking onto the blue side, they were happy with their first pick. So we'll have to see if the Pirates have to change up too much. We didn't and haven't said too much about them because I think both of us kind of agree that they're very comfortable in the position that they're at. That their composition is well rounded. It's up to the Wolfhounds to put chinks in their armor, make them feel uncomfortable, getting us to a game 3.
Exactly. And instantly we see again, they Wolves do not want to handle this Corki who has not shown in this thing, but it's been a menace. And instantly you see the respective ban from the Viego ban. Instantly, they knew that the Viego could definitely turn the game out of their hands. Phil played exceptionally well. Unfortunately, his Viego could only do so much against the very mobile Lilia that David had.
Yeah.
And again, another Ash ban, very strong ADC nowadays. It's exceptionally strong. I think meta plays him a lot as well. And again, the Pirates are just constantly just going saying, "Okay, guys, we just saw what they played. We don't want to play against that." Even the Silas appeared to be an issue for them as they were mostly scared of his potential if he could ever spike out of control.
Yeah, it's one of those like, oh, the Silas. And then I thought about it for a second longer. It's like, no, I suppose that makes sense, right? It's one of those champions that's, well, now that we know that you play it, we have to be cautious about what we pick, right? Because we could just accidentally align 5 different planets with the perfect ultimates for this Silas, right? So taking this one off the board, especially if you struggled against it in the lane, you may as well take it away, right? Because we highlighted the Smolder, the Jin aren't necessarily the hottest topics in terms of that bans. The Shen, as I was about to say, is my next expected ban. So seeing that one gone sees the same respect that I had expected from Pirates.
Yeah, and the Wolves instantly banned the Kai'Sa. They know that Mara is very well, and he played exceptionally well in the last game as well. They just don't want to deal with it right now. They would rather much deal with something else. And we're going to see the first pick is going to be the Shaco. Now, that's an interesting pick. I'm not sure if they're going to play the Shaco on the jungle or the support role, as I know Zoe likes to do some shenanigans with Shaco.
Yeah, it's one of those that I have been definitely on the receiving end of more than I've ever played him. I can't say, knowing the Warhounds, that I would know where to land it. So before I personally discuss it any further, I'm just going to see how the rest of the draft unfolds before I give any cemented feelings about that
I'll
Jack in the
ask
Box.
Exactly. I'll ask your thoughts at the end of the draft, maybe when we see everyone's locked in. A very standard pick on Jinx, very hyper carry focus, pretty much just like Kaisa, but on the physical damage spectrum instead.
Yeah,
And the Gragas, a very, very strong top laner. We've seen him many times onto pro
yeah,
play.
potentially flexible as well.
Yes, actually, he could be also flexed into the jungle if am correct. Not 100%
Jungle's
sure.
probably fine. Support's also probably still good. Um, Less so these days, but still one of those champions that base kit is just, at least to me, at such a high level that you kind of land them anywhere if you want. Mid, worst case, right, as well. So
Hey, maybe it's Gragas ADC. You never know.
I've
Maybe Pirates are taking
been
a page of
surprised
Wolf's
before.
books.
Right?
Standard pick on the Amumu. This is the thing that we talked about. They wanted the CC, the chain locks.
Yeah.
They really wanted this sort of okay, guys, now we're fighting where we are standing. We're not going to chase this
Yeah.
Lily around, even if you pick it. And the Smolder pick, very surprising. No, actually, not surprising as much, seeing as it wasn't banned this time around. And Kaiban said, "Give me the Smolder. I know how to play this champion. I'm gonna start melting them very, very soon, and they won't even know where it's coming from."
Yeah, it's one of those, right? You mentioned that last time Pizza Kiving, rather, sorry, didn't look the most comfortable on Callista, right? And pairing it with the Cassante, there's the idea that you pair the ultimates, you sort of insect somebody, but the idea of Zoe leaving the lane kind of left the Callista isolated, right? If you're leaving a champion isolated just to sit and farm, Smolder's probably one of the better options, right? He's not necessarily the most safe, but flap's better than what Callista had. And if it's something that Kaibing's comfortable on coming in towards that late game or that mid game, it's definitely going to feel a lot better than that Callista.
Exactly. And before we talk about the ban, the Nocturne pick is a really good pick for David, as earlier he said he also wanted to make sure that, okay, they picked the Smolder hero, that we're not going to be able to jump in as we're going to have an Amumu. What's the best champion to just jump from the other side of the map? Nocturne. He's going to be able to instantly, the moment he sees the Smolder in enough position, he's going to instantly jump in, and the Smolder can barely do anything, even with flap, and Snot. I don't think it's going to be enough to stop a Nocturne from killing you. Interesting bans. First ban, I believe it is a very much respected ban for the Tahm Kench. You saw the destructive power of the hero, especially during that fight over at the Grubs, where he turned it around with Cassante.
Against Nocturne as well, I think it's, to me, it's like you don't want to leave a Smolder stood next to a Tahm Kench when the Nocturne ults, right? It's
exactly
a denial, very much.
Exactly. Same thing with Galio. Galio could be played both mid and top lane, and could really just easily just say, hey, whoever is getting gone on, I'm just going to jump in, and then they're going to stand in there. And I don't think Nocturne wants to stay. Yeah. Imagine an Amumu ult with a Galio ult. You're just basically stunned forever. Meanwhile, on the Wolf side, they actually respected the Nautilus ban. The Nautilus pick from last game, and they said, we're going to ban it, we don't want to deal with it again. He caused too much disturbance in our plans, and we want our Smolder to basically fly around. And likewise with Leona, if you got solar flared into your oh my god, I forgot the third spell. It's just too much. Yes.
Zenith Blade,
Zenith Blade into the shield crash. He just constant stuns again, and we see that they really don't want their carries to be locked down, because both Leona and Nautilus provide that much. As for the picks, we are actually very interestingly see Ziggs and Urgot. I believe it's probably going to be a Smolder mid from the looks of it. Maybe Pizza Lover is benching out, saying to Carabin, you know what? You're not playing Smolder, I am. We see Zoe, as I said, Zoe's going to play the Shaco. There's going to be a lot of Jack in the Boxes for funds. Lemon getting to the Urgot, and yeah, coming in Ziggs. I'm surprised to see how that's going to turn out because I'm not sure how many times he's played onto that Ziggs before. Meanwhile, the last pick of Orn, very, very strong with Clarky. David going onto the Nocturne with Caperi going onto the Oriana. That Oriana ball is going to be so scary when darkness, you hear the darkness and then you just
Yeah.
see a Nocturne with a ball of Oriana just jumping into 5 people. As well as Mata going with the Jinx, as obviously, and Eldrari with the Gragas support, as you said. So we both had 1-1.
Yep. Yeah, we'll take those, right, as the two of us. I know we're going to eventually jump onto my thoughts on Shaco, but I'm still cooking how I feel about the Wolfhound. So I'll give my piece on Pirates first here as well. Does lack the same reliable engage. So up until the Ornn, right? To me, I was like, okay, cool. This composition has a lot of wombo, but unless you're able to land that wombo, it is just good ultimates, right? Which is sometimes just enough, especially if you're more comfortable like playing above the curve in terms of skill level. But the Ornn to me kind of makes this feel a lot more rounded, right? You have double frontline again, assuming the Gragas isn't going to go some weird AP hybrid build as a support. The support items, tank items, are efficient enough that he should be happy with his base damages to me. But between the Ornn and the Gragas being able to frontline, Nocturne, Oriana Ball, as you say, this Jinx should have a lot of field to work with. And I was concerned that this team isn't going to be as skirmishy as possible, but from level 6 I expect this team to be online, and it's nice and well rounded. You have clear targeted win conditions being Oriana Ultimate, Jinx follow-up, right? And you have a great number of ways to begin that. So to me, the Pirates are quite happy, quite comfortable, healthy mid-range team. Right, now I have to think about Wolfhounds, right? Because it's Shaco support, which I am real, kind of down on. It's one of those that you catch out players that aren't too experienced into playing against Shacos or some of these weird picks, but I expect between a Gragas and a Jinx that even if they aren't comfortable or experienced, they are happy just to farm this out because they're not the lane into the smaller anymore, right? Like, you don't have to give much over to the Ziggs as well because he's not going to be able to really extrapolate or win a lane by himself, I don't feel like. So this lane is mostly just leave the Ziggs by himself, let the Shaco wander. And that is my expectation, knowing Zoe as well, just to sort of be the menace in a box somewhere on the map.
Yeah, I'm
Smolder
pretty
mid,
sure
I'm
that.
kind of go for it.
Oh, sorry. Carry on. Finish your
Oh, no,
thoughts.
I'll wrap on my last point. Is that I almost wish the Ziggs and the Smolder were swapped. Because as I mentioned, I feel like Smolder does better being isolated in a lane and letting the Ziggs eat up the Oriana pressure, because I feel like that's going to be the similarly difficult matchup that Smolder experiences, but I'd rather leave Smolder sort of cushioned away in the bottom lane.
I think I just said they actually the both comps have a major issue is that both comps need to farm. Like, if you notice, like, you have Smolder on one hand wants to stack, you have the Ziggs, he wants to farm on early on, he doesn't want to fight early. Meanwhile, Jinx doesn't want to fight early on, she wants to farm early. You have the Ornn who just will eventually scale into becoming this unkillable tank, and just like very, very small and slow games from both sides. And I feel like most pace is going to get dictated by how Amumu is going to be playing out and going to go back and forth into fighting for objectives, as Wolves have the upper hand onto the early game, but I'm not 100% sure how the team fight is going to happen around because, as you said, wombo combo, so many different versions of the ultimates, with the Nocturne Ball, with the Ornn just dropping in the Forge. Oh my god.
Call of the Forge God. Yeah, you're most of the way there. Other way around, yeah.
And it's basically, it's very, very, especially in tight corners, it's going to be very, very difficult for Wolves to play. And in my honestly, I'm not exactly keen onto this Lemon pick top lane onto the Urgot, as yes, Urgot will be able to win against the Ornn, but he's not exactly gonna be able to do a lot.
Yeah,
and
an
it comes
interesting
to
level
team
one
fights.
Here. We'll return to that as Vision here being told would build some suspense here for the Wolfhounds. Effectively repeating what was done to them in Game 1 Pirates with that early invade. You can see them ready to catch here should they misstep or mispath here into topside, but no, being sensible, one by one, they will funnel in. We got Zoe here sticking around here in this topside, looking to, I think, sneak away perhaps an early buff. We'll have to watch how that one evolves. But I do love the point you're making here, right? This Urgot doesn't feel like the most cohesive member of the team. I don't hate overall the more I think about this team comp, but I would love to see them set up to an objective first, right? Because to me, between Ziggs, boxes, and like flap, 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 this team composition kind of wants to kite backwards, right? So with the Nocturne, you kind of have that permission just to walk away and let kind of the enemy team wade into you, assuming that you're not going to get trapped on by, as you mentioned, that like Call of the Forge God, right? That non-committal engage. So to me, the Wolfhounds, a lot of this is going to come down to the early game because I think neither of us are super excited about that late game. Simply because the strength of their composition, I don't expect them to be able to execute on in that like kiting backwards.
I think, in all honestly, wolves are on a time limit. They have until like mid game to burst out this very good like position for they have like the Ziggs that's gonna be really good on mid game. Urgot's gonna be really good on mid game. Smolder's gonna have some stacks, but not a lot. But they don't really care about that much because uh, you have a skirmishing comp versus a oh
Oh, small little hindrance on the production side. We're going to change a bit of settings, so it shouldn't take us long to get back into the game. The game should still be rolling. So yeah, carry on from your point there. We just saw Nocturne take an invade on top side.
yeah, I mean, Nocturne can really just go into the jungle for a Amumu because he while he is a little bit weaker, he can clear a lot faster than a Amumu because a Amumu wants the tantrum hits to be
Yeah,
hit onto him so he can basically get that refresh faster. Meanwhile, Nocturne just farming anything. And as you can see, Zoe is literally leaving the lane and just going around helping. But that's a big rotation coming along as
yeah. Oh, that's unfortunate. Their Banjo Toss thrown into the minion. Zoe now hitting level 2 was otherwise not too much useful, but Matando having to burn the flash. So net positive over for the Wolfhounds here as they sneak away not only bottom side camps, but take away some summoners too.
Yeah, exactly. By the way, yeah. Oh, first blood on top lane, insane.
Repeating the pattern, it's now 2 for 2 on first bloods here for Clarky solo.
Clarky just shows dominance again on the top lane. He knows he doesn't care what you pick against him. He knows that he's going to be able to just play around the hero that he can play and then just get the value off of it. Meanwhile, we see a very even matchup on mid. Oriana and Smolder both sitting comfortably like 22 CS. Uh, I'm not sure exactly what's going to happen. I'm going to shut up for a moment as Smolder is going to
Yeah,
go
as the
in.
action happens, flaps away, having brought Bram down in health, but David's here trying to catch the young little dragon hatchling. Flashes to try and do so, is able to get the movement speed off, as well as that fear, gets the second Q pathing through with those shadows. Flash to follow, with Bam Bam there picking up that kill onto the Smolder.
And Joey just casually saying hi to Nocturne.
Yeah, walking around, throwing a dagger into the bank, lands a bandage toss, points out the mark. David here using that spell shield, perhaps a little too late, but the fear is enough to push Phil away. But the bandage toss is perfectly enough to follow this one up. But the Orion shield should be plenty to get him away with the command protect, and I expect command movement speed to get out there as well.
Yep, exactly. This just goes to show, like currently you're just having a Smolder mid, where he doesn't have a lot of pressure onto many things. Meanwhile, on the bot lane, you see the Ziggs is farming comfortably under his tower, and you just have a duo support with. Sorry, I'm.
That's all good as
Oh,
Clarky here able to stack that Brito and get that flash in around those legs lemon, making it look close this time, which is impressive considering the 400 gold down. But Clarky getting the better of that one again, as you mentioned, the champion that is just so comfortable, still has that TP as well. But we'll see if the Wolfhounds can get something back here on the map as Phil engaging here onto the Gragas support, able to proc that phase rush, starting to get away, but they have the movement speed here from the Skull. Zoe looking to get over the wall, but still level 2, haven't got the full kit available to him. So they take the summoners, but it's time invested.
yeah, and honestly, it's just the skirmishing constant.
We see a little bit of a pause here, but I know our production are working hard behind the scenes to get us sorted. Potentially a pause on the side of the players there as well. But yeah, screaming here review resumes.
Okay, I think we should be fine, right? Okay, right. Apologies for that. Wolves actually a really good job of taking care of the Drake early on, as it's not just the Namumu, it's a Shaco as well coming along. But my issue starting to happen with Shaco. Shaco, how are you going to utilize this pick later on to the game as you're not standing in the lane? The Jinx is farming on 43, 44 CS and going upwards, and Ziggs is behind.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, they're gonna try to close in on the top lane. This David has to be careful. He's on his own.
Yeah, isolated here is able to pick up the first grub, but Lemon's here able to pick up the first champion. The Call of Forge God is spent here. The privilege of being level 6, feared, knocked up, knocked back, and brittled, and sent to the fountain. Lemon thought he had David all alone, but Clarky has a friend, and his friend has a ram. But we'll hold the point here. Phil looking to get in on this action as well, but the 3 grubs are already gone, so you might as well skedaddle, but you are knocked up instead. Clarky looking to further the CC, is able to get him airborne, looking to put a pillar up in the way as well. Phil going to have to make good use of this blast cone. Might not be enough. Clarky looking to land those last auto attacks, but here it is, Lemon. Oh, the edge of that brittle cone there is just enough fiery breath to lay down the enemy jungler. Peter Lover looking to get in on this action as well, but his just above 200 health isn't too healthy. David gets tripped by the box. Zoe looking for something here as well. I don't know what the Wolfhounds can really achieve here because Clarky is still very healthy and very strong
They're
and
just baiting
has
them.
the bramble already. So they're able to get the kill, chase for fun, and get away for free.
Yeah, pirates are just. Oh my god, the snipe! This
Perfect
dragon
snipe
went
there
to
as
base
well.
earlier than expected.
Yep, Jinx able to pick up that Dirk and now a 300 gold kill as well. Kai Bing here is effectively solo laning, sadly, is still the same XP as this Jinx. Presumably, Grag is doing a perfectly good job of zoning. This poor Ziggs away from the wave, and you see that then reflected in the CS as well. So it's not going well on the bottom side, but it is not going too well on the top side as Lemon is the target. They know he's only just turned 6, he's got the ultimate, has to flash away and still dies, and now Phil stuck himself in the 1 versus 2, but he is also only level 5, no ultimate available, and Clarky here is whipping up a storm, more so on Ornn than on the Volibear, as he's well and away with 5 kills.
This is going disastrous for Wolves, and I don't know how they can recover. There's a huge lead on this Ornn. This Forge God is now 5-0. He has almost a full item already. And I think they're going to dive onto
Oh
the
yeah,
6.
Chompa's laid down the body bop, puts him into the sphere of it, and there it is. The little tickle there from Fishbones getting ready for season 2 of Arcane. Matando gets a second kill.
This is very, very disastrous for Wolves. They wanted to get this early plays with the Mumu and the Shaco going around as a group of 2, but it has not paid off. And oh my god, Pirates have been constantly reading them perfectly.
Yeah,
Uh,
even from the level 1, right, where Nocturne starts on outside the jungle, so that the impactful level 1 that they had expected from Zoe doesn't come through to any fruition, right? So it's in a bit of trouble there. I don't hate the second smite, right? It's highlighted just there on the screen. I think it's the first time we got to see it paired, but again, this Shaco is without an ultimate, is not influencing a lane and hasn't, as you say, achieved that level of utility that they expected to, right? Simply because, as you mentioned, the Pirates sort of reading the play, being measured, and putting their own triggers.
yeah, this Shaco has been constantly like very, very bad as of right now. Uh, I I think we're having some technical issues.
And whilst those begin to unfold, I'm sure we'll get some news to you soon if there is any. Worth highlighting, the Jinx already at a collector, and of all champions, of all tanks rather, to be put ahead, it's either like the Cassante to me or the Ornn that I am most afraid of, right? Simply because Ornn can bleed his gold into the other champions, right? Especially with that XP and being able to bring out masterwork items. The idea that Ornn's going to hit that masterwork item point sooner, and that the Jinx has already completed that collector to get upgraded, is a little bit terrifying to me.
It's very, very badly going for the way of the Wolves. I think they really want. They had a solid plan at the start. It was supposed to be a Mumu and Shaco just going to go around and just shut down this Nocturne, and all the lanes is going to farm out, and there's going to be no issues because, as you know, in paper, Urgot has no issues with the Ornn because he has like all this counterplay to it. Urgot is 0-5. He's barely able to stand onto the lane before he dies yet again.
Yeah, sort of leaking gold at this point. The good news is in the current patch, the sort of int gold has been like softened, so the Ornn isn't going to accelerate too much more past this point. Has staunched his build for the sake of the Bramble to kind of turn off this Urgot, so it's 100% worthwhile, but at least his first item is going to be delayed. As you mentioned, it's a concerning point to be for the Wolfhounds, but we're looking to turn that one around as Pizza Lover and the help of Zoe here, looking to chase it onto Bam Bam, is currently getting away with it. The ultimate thrown there from the Gragas just for that security, but it kind of rigs the problem, right? If you're unable to catch someone out in the 2v1, a little bit of loving emote there, you're starting to look now towards the objectives, right? If you're Wolfhounds, you're going to start to want to stack these Drakes since you've already claimed the one, but I don't see a feasible way now that Nocturne has unlocked his ultimate, as well as the Orianna. We mentioned that this is sort of a wombo combo composition. Firstly, you've got to chew through the Ornn, and already Jinx has got this Collector, so I feel like you're going to start to bleed the objectives, and that just kind of loses the game from here. So it feels almost written, but the Wolfhounds have to have a way to come back somehow. But we'll hold as the fight begins to unravel. I can hear and see a call of the Forge God, and there is a kill there straight onto the Amumu, so there's no way they're going to get the last of those two. The Urgot already falling as well, so it looks like, as I patterned it, Pirates already ready to begin to overtake these objectives, and that looks to me like a 6 grubs.
That it just looked disastrous. Even the clips that we just saw from the PowerPoint, it was a disastrous fight. Because right now the Wolves really wanted to get any sort of objectives down to get that bounty goal as well, as we saw that it is already up, and it's nothing is being gone to them because instantly the moment they want to do one objective, you want to go do grubs. Okay, we have 4 people there. You want to do dragon, cool, we can join whenever we want
Yeah.
because we have the Ornn TP, we have Orianna sitting on mid. Jinx is not even joining these fights. She's just farming bot lane and throwing ults, killing people. It's so disastrous because it's basically for free. She's getting stuff for free giving to her. At the same time, you have this Smolder who wanted to stack and is now being forced to fight, getting less and less stacks. You have the level 5 Shaco on 11 minutes just existing because
Yeah.
they really wanted to get that Shaco early on paced, but it ended up not working out for them as he hasn't really been able to use that smite at all, really. He, like, Zoe is just not being able to exist in this game compared to last game where she was Cassandra just going around being a menace. It's just a complete 180 at the moment, and I don't know how they're going to recover for this, especially Lemon, who showed such potential with a Tom Kench and now is going 0-5. I think it's 0-6. Yeah, it's 0-6 now. It's very, very badly going for the Wolves, and I'm not 100% sure how they will be able to recover from this.
Let's project then how we do it, right? Because the Wolfhounds have shown us their cook with the Shaco. We've highlighted their composition kind of wants to play backwards, and they're definitely now in this position where they're going to have to kite backwards in this fight. They don't have a lot of tools to prevent the engage, just sort of mitigate. So to me, the Wolfhounds kind of have to catch people off guard, right? So it's very much on the Pirates to kind of give them a curveball that they can then catch, get a tag player back in, if this is a dodgeball analogy. Um, your current strengths are weirdly this Ziggs and the Amumu, right? And the idea that you could then lay down boxes and sort of layer the CC, shred the MR with the Amumu, land the Ziggs ultimate on top. That's kind of their best angle that I see at the moment. You can't fight at the objectives because you know the Pirates members are going to be there. You kind of want to target the Ornn for the shutdown. So to me, you kind of want to bring your Amumu and your Ziggs because he's only built armor at the moment. And that feels like your best way. Cool. We now have gold on either Amumu, so he's a better front line, so we can start to wade into these members a little bit more, or onto the Ziggs, so we actually have a damage line threat. So if we are able to catch CC onto Jinx, we have a way of reliably killing her. We catch
Oh,
ourselves back
speaking
into
of,
the game. And speaking of, let's see here. Smolder has picked up some kills. I think a triple kill there onto the Smolder. Looked like he traded his life for it, but we'll see the Pirates in action as the Nocturne brings the darkness and the Jinx brings the pain, and they get the Ziggs back out of lane.
this 4-0 Jinx is now starting to become a threat as well. We see the Shaco here.
Oh, and I held my breath thinking Zoe's going to do a little bit more than exist. Does at least get the gold silver lining to upgrade the support item, but sadly isn't able to cancel the back and potentially pick up that kill.
And I'm
But
pretty sure that
overall, great for the Pirates still.
there should be an easy tower for Jinx as well. Walking up, just hitting it two with rockets, with the Void Grubs as well. She seems like she's chasing to get a kill, but I'm not 100% sure how you're going to kill a Shaco.
Yeah, Shago has a lot of means here to get out.
Yeah, Zoe's
Does
even
then,
like memeing about. Oh, and actually,
yeah, just baiting them into the Smolder, who has the flap here to chase Matando. Has Mother called on him? We're waiting to see what the camera brings us, and Peter Lavalo to get the shutdown. It'll be big if he does, and it does indeed succeed at shutting down that Forono Drinks, who perhaps got too excited looking at that tasty old Shako, but gets bitten down by the dragon.
this is actually amazing for Wolves. This is the thing that I was going to say. Their only win condition as of right now is the Smolder, as Smolder is the only one who with the kills on board, with the power to basically melt everyone around. And I think that they're Wolves are realizing this, and they're saying, you know what, Smolder, go get everything. It's fine. We'll keep them at bay. You go do your thing. Uh, and it's very, but at the same time, it's very scary because the moment the Smolder goes with a Nocturne ult, what do you
Yeah,
have? Because your Ziggs is in the back doing no damage as he's very far behind. Your Oregon is not doing anything as of right now. He's just there to choke a shield or not. And then you have your Amumu, who's also one ulti away from being completely useless in a way where he's not gonna have he doesn't have the Leandris, he doesn't have the Sunfire, he doesn't have the strength to sit there in front and tank. As we saw in one of the team fights, Karagas was just basically laughing around him,
yeah,
just body slamming him and just saying to him, yeah, dude, go do whatever, I'm just chilling here with
yeah,
Amumu.
yeah. And it's a bit of a mixed bag at the moment, right? Because we've seen the Wolfhounds have. It's not a great look, but we did see them pick the Jinx, right? So it's not as though the game is fully over. They're still playing to win here. They're catching some of the Pirates members off guard. So it is a case, like I mentioned, the Pirates kind of have to throw this one to lose it, but the Wolfhound's definitely still present and of mind and ready to find those opportunities for whatever it costs or whatever it takes. So to me, it's a case of, as you mentioned, the Smolder is in a great position to begin and recover this game, except for the fact that he has to deal with Nocturne, Oriana, Jinx, and the Ornn, right? So, sure, in that isolated 1v1 where the Jinx has already spent some of her kit, Smolder can chase this one down, but that was still close. So, should be a little bit better now that the Smolder has that shutdown gold to make that 1v1 a little bit tighter. It's just a case of the Wolfhounds having to play with that in mind, right? Like, unless you're going to continue to make picks, this is going to come down probably to a team fight. You have to be ready to prevent that Warnock from being recast. You have to be ready to play around the Nocturne flying in, potentially with an Oriana ball on top, and still be ready then to deal with a cask you can't predict and a Jinx rocket from out of nowhere, right? So I think it's up to the Wolfhounds here to try and find an angle where you continually find people off guard, like the Jinx, you find people on the side, and you just bring more members than the Pirates can. Or
Yep.
you have your perfect team fight. You play expecting them to fall into you. You set up your traps in your boxes, and you kind of let Pirates do their own undoing. But we'll see the Pirates make their own worth here with the knockup just going short, and we know that Call of the Forge God is coming. Knocks up. Got a great buffer here from Lemon. David getting up maybe a little bit too far under this tower. So these tower shots are already doing a fair bit of damage, and there's the box as well. So this is kind of what I was talking about. It is hard for the Pirates to chase. I think they're doing well here simply because they are this far ahead. But if the Wolfhounds can continue to mitigate, continue to shut down, that might not be as big of a problem.
Yeah, I think honestly in this situation, Pirates they actually don't want to overcommit a lot of the times because they after the Jinx thing happened where she dies to the Smolder 1v1, they want to play this really safely and they want to have this Ornn be able to do stuff on front and not sitting in the back with like 500 HP.
Yeah.
Taking down
Oh,
the tower
Jinx
though,
getting
insanely.
excited, yeah, with that tower, able to get the first kill. Looking to chase a little bit more. Lemon here is slowed. Second cask does exactly that as well. Charges the second Herald charge there into the mid tower, able to secure that one as well. So one inhibitor falls, second inhibitor falls. The Herald still has a little bit of health kicking in him, and as I say, that does die over to the minions, unfortunately. But in that meantime as well, this is only 4 members of the Pirates. There's a fifth one bringing in this top wave as well. So although it's only 20 minutes, the gold lead is substantial enough. They might be able to hear and close. So we're talking about that perfect team fight for the Wolfhounds. They're going to have to find it pretty soon, as there goes the Zigzag, able to do a fair bit of chip damage to all of the members. I'm looking at this Amumu as the main form of engage here, looking to find a bandage toss, a multiple man one if possible, but it's just not there enough to catch it. So 2 inhibitors, at least 3 towers. Wolfhounds are still standing, but it's not the mitigating gold we were wanting.
No, not at all. Pirates really punished them by simply realizing that they overextended in a bit with the Urgot, and then after they're all low, they can't really stop a 4-man siege, especially without a Smolder getting caught off onto the tier 3 next to the inhibitor. I don't think nobody was expecting this. They do pick off this Drake really well with the extra gold from the bounty, but
Yeah.
look, the Pirates, they don't care. They're already looking for this big Baron juicy. It's just gonna end the game by going in from the top lane and just having all the 30 inhibitors down. And it's basically looking very, very badly for Wolves as of right now.
Yep, as soon as this Baron is secured, I expect the game to be over fairly shortly. Like we said, it is still on the Wolfhounds to have that perfect team fight, but it looks like the Pirates don't want to give it to them. They check the Baron and they find 2 members of the Wolfhounds out of position. They find the first one, and he is slaying the Amumu gone. The blast cone bringing David further into the action. He looks like he's in trouble, but he's got 5 members of the Pirates stood beside him. Lemon's going to fall, flash forward, dodge away from Pizza Lover. He's the member you've got to keep your eyes on. He's the one member that has any chance of standing up to the Pirates at this point before they run and ravage the last of their base, chasing down Zoe. That clobber was huge. They're looking to secure the last inhibitor because they might as well wait for the wave to crash into this turret. Get excited that Jinx is taking a little bit of damage. Mega Inferno Bomb does clear some of the wave, but they've got 2 more inbound. The Super Mega Minion are in there as well. 3 members. It is the Pirates being so measured and so careful, are fairly low, so if they are able to get some of these kills, it could begin to turn around. And here is the flash forward. The 4-man ultimate from the Mumu looking to turn this one around. Keep your eyes on Pizza Lover. They're the one that's going to be dealing most of this damage. They're able to pick off 1. They're looking to chase onto Clarky. He is worth a fair amount of gold. His shutdown has been claimed before. He's unstoppable getting around those boxes, but that is another kill, and these members are still super low. Matando here is getting into that threshold that Pizza Hub level wants. The shockwave is only on to 1, but the bouncing bomb is 1 more of those. The missile going wide there from Lemons, and it is the Pirates being perhaps too measured. I think they could have taken it. Zoe looking for something. Caught by the back end of the body slam, gives it away, but is able to pick up that kill in the trail there as well. Walks back into the Super Mega Death Rocket, but you'll take that. For a Shaco that wasn't existing to be 3-2, you're now fairly happy. So the Wolfhounds.
I think Zoe is having a blast this game. Zoe has been memeing all the time, just going around throwing emotes, throwing these waves, and honestly, I think that Zoe is having the time of their lives. I'm gonna say this fight looked extremely well for Wolves, but at this point of this moment, there's still small hope. Even though you have this Smolder now, finally hitting this 2 to 5 stacks, getting onto that burn that's about to melt pretty much anyone with that true health damage. It's going to be really substantial to see how they're going to play this around, because they had the perfect engagement of the Mumu, as you said, of the follow-up as well. But again, because they're so far behind, they're lacking all this damage. And I think that still having the Baron, Pirates are looking to close the deal early on. They just don't want to let this Smolder have anything else.
Oh, and the 3-man knock got followed up by the Shockwave, and the Nocturne ultimate means you have no chance of dodging the horn that is coming. Mum is called, but she's only going to watch her son get obliterated. Double kill already for the Jinx. Triple following that one up. The Nexus is bare and open, as is this Smolder in the base. He's able to find some cheeky members of the Pirates chasing in too far, but he's actually able to wrap it up for a sudden quadra kill. I wasn't even expecting that amount of damage. It's now Pizza Lover versus the minions of the world. It's not just these ones. There's another set coming, and he's going to actually die to them. This is not the ending anyone expected, because the minions, the 6th member of the Pirates, the crew is there, and they're able to blow up the Nexus on behalf of the Pirates. looking for the fountain of youth. They dug too
Oh,
greedily and too deep, but they were so far into that wealth of pocket that
oh, they look that Smolder
oh
looked so
man.
well at the end. But it just happens very, very slowly. And that death at the end, it was so extraordinary to watch. This little dragon running away from these big
Did
creeps.
I
Just
do good, Mum? Mum, were you watching? Mum, the minions, Mum, please.
no, I don't think even the pirates. This is the thing that we talked about. Even the pirates didn't expect that much damage coming from the smolder at the end, because the
Yeah,
smolder just burned them all down to the ground with like 3 basic Qs. It was really well done, but we talked about this. Way too late for this to happen. They needed to have this breather room for smolder to do this, and I think you were correct with this statement of they should have put Smolder at bot lane and have him farm rather than putting the Ziggs there, because the Ziggs pretty much just stayed there and did nothing until the very late, and it kind of cost them the game. As I'm pretty sure that obviously Ziggs has a lot more early on potential than the Smolder, and the Smolder would have been a lot more at peace just hitting those stacks and getting those things happening.
yeah, for sure. I think well, as your first introduction properly into WoW, I hope you enjoyed the Wolfhounds as much as I did, and the kind of chaos of the game. I think this is, as a series, has been very trademark, I think, of WoW. So, of course, congratulations there to the Pirates for quite comfortably securing this one, but still finding ways to make it entertaining, keeping it close, at least for the Wolfhounds there as well. Any comments then for the Pirates, considering they won the series?
I mean, I said this before. The Pirates went in. They knew they had what they had to do, and they just went and executed it. They were never scared about anything, and it showed from their movements. It was very, very much insanely well. It was insanely well done from the Pirates. Seeing like first game Lilia was able to run around and cause so much chaos, even though the Viego was ahead. Then the next game you have Clark is both top lane, like he just got both top lane first bloods. Shows that he's, you know what, I don't care what you guys pick against me, I'll pick my hero and just do whatever I want with it. Even though Ornn pick was last pick, I still believe that and then they picked the Urgot to counter that Ornn. It was very, very satisfying to see that Ornn just popping out and just becoming exceptionally well done.
Yeah, especially for a top lane well, right? Like, it's the island. I've been marooned here, but Pirates, no, they come together. Clarky gets himself off that island and really began everything Pirates was about there for the game too.
Yeah, exactly. And as we saw both games, Mata with the ADC picks, very comfortable with Kaisa, was able to do so much. And with the Jinx, even though he did a little bit of int when he was chasing around the Shaco, you knew that he was already feeling comfortable. He wasn't scared of letting like one death get ahead of him. Instantly regrouped with his team the next fight, and instantly his position was exceptional in the fights. He was like, wherever Amumu was, he was literally like opposite side of him. He was not letting this Amumu get on top of him. Even though the Amumu at this last fight you saw, he hit those 3 tantrum at the end. Jinx was like sitting far back hitting people, so she was getting that trying to get excited passive to work and start melting people. Unfortunately at that fight didn't turn out the way the Pirates wanted, but obviously the game had already been very, very in their hands at the time.
Yeah, game 2 fairly written, but I still quite love the ending. Of all the ways that could have wrapped, that is at least the more exciting way for it to go. So
I think that was the most Wolf way to end the game. You know, getting a quadra kill into dying to minions and to ending the game.
It felt quite NA as a way of doing things. Playing for fun is how I'd like to describe the league. So I think it showed that everyone had fun. I hope you did as well, Dim. I certainly did. Thank you for the broadcast, for resolving the issues, getting there in the end. Thank you for sticking with. Thank you, of course, to Esports Worlds for hosting us. Any final words, Dim, before we wrap this one
up? Everyone's had a great time, so can't wait to see the next season.
Next season, of course, as well. Welsh 7 will be 3 to 4 months away. You'll probably find me there. Hopefully we'll see Dim there. So yeah, if you're looking forward to more of that action or looking into playing, do follow the links in the description below. I think we've both had a blast. I hope both the teams have had a blast. And we'll see you for a blast next time in that Welsh 7. See you soon, people.
Take care.